Good morning. How's everybody? What the hell? Bitcoin fell from the sky yesterday. Overall markets were, I guess, neutral, a little bearish. They went down there in the morning, but it's kind of been more of the same, running in place, um, waiting for the spring to pop. But didn't really happen yesterday. Up and down and up, and all right, that's good information. VIX options expire in the morning. Maybe we get some chop. Well, we got plenty of chop. How about a little direction? We can take a look at them. But anyway, Bitcoin popped up, and this is the risk of buying high, right? There's a philosophy of buying higher and selling higher, and it certainly works. But the further you get away from the start of the move, the more you're going to be susceptible to something like this. But as long as you know what you're doing, you have your stop loss in place, or raising stops, money management, calculated risk, and all of that. But it did get almost to that congestion area. I don't know if we can see it on the hourly chart. If it'll, I guess I can put it longer than an hourly chart, but I can go 90 minutes just to. It didn't quite get there. You can see just the bottom of it there. And maybe some news came out, who knows, but took a hell of a dive and stabilized. Look to the left. Those of you that are new, had just been at maybe on YouTube or in the room for a little while, and you hear us say this, look to the left, you must be like, oh, scratch your head. Really, look to the left. They say this all the time because it works consistently. It's what moves the market up and down. What's to the left, or the lack thereof. And so, it fell down in here near the pivot low, and buyers stepped up, and it's trying to turn around. And sometimes even nasty red bars like that can turn around. Well, they're power bars. They're also what I call the weakest link, because the way they move, they leave no, in this case, overhead resistance. So the risk here is this goes sideways. Well, risk for those that are bearish on it is that it goes sideways for a few days and starts creeping up into this area. I've seen plenty of times these kind of nasty bars get negated. So you don't know if it'll happen, but just watching what's happening on a lower time frame and seeing like this, it created a pivot, and it retested it, and it came back up again, and now it's at resistance. And this is the whole process, how support and resistance gets created, and it eventually it contracts and either continues lower as this momentum bar suggests, or demand picks up enough to drive things back up into the void. Days. I don't know when is this on. 1 second, guys. Oh, that was on spiders. Okay. PX. I'll be right there. SPX. All right, so let's see what the markets are doing here. So it was a little bit of a down day. No range expansion bar here. Bit of a curling top, which you can see a better view of that, a rounding top on the hourly chart. And where are they here? 451-ish. They went down to 449. So they dipped down overnight, popped right back up. So flat. It's flat. So we get a red bar on the weekly. Still too early to tell. I don't see any advantage here to doing anything. Well, let's back that up a little bit. Right? Could you take a position here, a bearish position, I see it 440. I see it down there for 70 and maybe a little bit less. There's even 65 you could go for, those that are a little less aggressive. But maybe this is the high point of the move in September. We were looking for something more, but maybe it's a very subtle beginning of a turn, and that's it. And so, just thinking out loud here, well, you could certainly do the call spread on SPX up above this level, up above the level there. Yeah, all right. There's a lot up there at 45.50 and some at 45.60. So, there are these bullish bets out there, and can they get this little turnaround? We've seen it happen numerous times, but, just a thought, tops don't always have to be so violent. There are times when they just kind of creep up on you. So I don't know. We'll see what happens here today. So SPX, you can go up there. 45.50, I think, was the high point. 45. Yeah, 45.50 is only 25 cents by 40 cents. So, you got to get too close on the call side. It's too dangerous. This easily could turn around. So going low, even though this looks like it's going to go lower, right? Can you get far enough away? And yeah, right. They've been staying in that 50-60 area. And so it's being flat as it is and going, down here. I mean, everything, with a credit spread is, do you think it'll go down there today? Because it's 0 day to expiration. If we said, do you think it'll go down there by next week? I'd be like, I ain't taking that bet. Because, that's too far away. It's not predictable without more information. But if it should go down here, say it's down here by Friday, well, those strikes up there probably not going to get revisited, but we'll see. It depends on how fast it comes down. This market seems to like these fast moves and then to buy them to drive them back up again. So we'll see. Futures, dip and coming back up. You can see the yesterday's close and today's open are almost exactly the same. And there's the dip and the depth of retracement back up here again, bottoming tail bar. Can it hold on to it? Now it's where the sellers want to be, but it came up there with some power. So it's not a no-brainer short right here, even though the hourly is in a downtrend. Maybe a little bit more backing and filling on the 5-minute here, or what I would like to see, an attempt to go up and roll back over again, some type of a failure pattern. And, it's pre-market here. Everybody's kind of waiting, or some are waiting for a little bit more information. The Qs, right, coming on strong again, Apple. Now there's going to be an Apple 13. I guess everybody that owns Apple phones is going to have a 13. I mean, you're not an Apple person if you don't have the newest, latest, greatest, but hey, one thing's for sure, you'll still be able to make calls on it. I don't know what else great it's going to do for you. But, so this looking good. It's chopping sideways again. And futures, just top tails, bottom tails, just a lot of running in place. You better be Johnny on the spot quick, back and forth. It's just the contract. The Russell, got close to the destination. It's pulling back. Buyers should want to step up here. Here's another one of those wide range bars. And I've got the blue dotted line there because I'm just eyeballing where it should stay. As it dips down, this is where buyers should want to step up, and you can see they already have as it approached that bottoming tail bar, and be trying to make the turn. None of this is like, these patterns that we're seeing right now are like, this is something I feel really confident that it's going to go one way or the other. It's just not there yet. Dow got a bit ugly yesterday. Triple M got slammed, went through the 200-day. You want to take a look at that? Like it wasn't there, but that's why moving averages are subjective. If you look at it, there was nothing to the left. And so here, it comes down here overnight, pushes through the 50. And, I guess now everybody's been programmed, when it spikes down through the 50, look for the turn. And so that popped back up again, but same nasty little red bar going on there. So it's kind of maybe a shot across the bow that the Dow and some of those Dow stocks just got slammed back down. And just look at CSX rails. That's why we look at the transports. And while that was only one stock that got slammed, this thing ain't turning around. So we're still not sure. And we want a little bit more, because if this thing goes down, it's going to go down fast. And, pick your favorite thing to short, and you can potentially make a decent amount of money in a relatively short period of time. TBT going up while the transports are going down. So conflicting information. We've talked about interest rates going up, that helping financials, and the transports picking up. They've got somewhat similar bottoming patterns, but the transports they can't get out of their own way. And so the financials, they stabilized. They weren't able to do much of anything. Bank of America, that popped up there and came right back in again. And so keeping some powder dry. You see trades, and it's not a no-brainer situation yet of things moving. I don't know if GME, I read they're supposed to report. I don't know if they reported yet, but we did a little
after the bell.
We did a little AMC trade yesterday, and that, in the after the first 5 minutes, and that worked out quite nicely. But it got up to the resistance and just went nowhere. So that's probably going to be running in place, waiting for GME. I suspect it's not doing anything right now. And crude oil, not bad, holding on after the breakout bar failure. Power bar. So kind of doing what it should do, trying to repair the damage of the breakout bar failure. And you can look at gold, which we had the opposite of that. It's a little different. Now, we always tell students, don't get hung up on exact patterns.
An alert target has been reached.
Thank you. Breakout bar failures, pullback patterns, flag patterns, M and W patterns. We start with a textbook type of a pattern, but there are little variations, but the concept, right, is the same. And so, this breaking down with the little tail and the inside bar is the same thing as what we saw in gold. And this got turned around. But at this point, this had a wide range bar down, and that void, and it's kind of like a shock pattern, just pushed it right back up again. Silver, not doing much of anything. There isn't really much of anything doing much of anything, except Dan's been doing pretty good picking those little junk stocks, low price stocks that have been popping down. You want to show a few of those. And that's kind of a sign of a market that is getting a little dicey, where you haven't had the apples fall apart yet, but things like 3M, and there's a lot of little minefield accidents going out there, and the junk all of a sudden becomes attractive, and historically that's a sign of be careful. Well, yours, Dan.
All right, good morning. Yeah, we had some nice gains in those junk bottoming patterns for sure. There was one that we missed yesterday because it had a gap and excessive move Clove, though, was one that we had a nice ride on yesterday. We had long calls. All our opens are fine here. Well, actually, coin. We have a half lot of short puts, but they're the 220s, and even if we stop out, it's going to be at a gain, so that's fine. But that's an ugly gap. They're getting a Wells notice. SEC is coming after them. But some directionals that we entered yesterday. Apple, we have long calls. And look at that. That is a beautiful 15-minute end of day base, beautiful pre-market launching pad, relative strength. Thing didn't budge with the pre-market dip and the cues. That 5-minute high, that thing, as long as the market's not falling, that looks fantastic. Myrna, we're in, we bought yesterday. PayPal, we have a bull call debit spread, that's gapping up. Oh, I had moved the stop. We might, yeah, I'm gonna be keeping an eye on that to sell some in the strength. This pen I'm watching is a core long, and I was waiting until the close, and then it just ran into the close. That looks fantastic on the weekly and monthly. Tesla, we gave a long call spread over this little 15-minute pivot. It did not trigger into the close, but now that's gapping up, looks higher. Well, I just told them and through Telegram to hold off, but let's keep an eye on that. We did get into dunking yesterday, strength with pen, gambling stuff. All right, that's enough comments on opens. If you have any other questions, holler at me. SPRT. Now this looks interesting. This looks like I remember this was a short squeeze one where 65% was short. So now it's coming in. Let's see well, I can tell right here, it's not over yesterday's high, but that's a watch for sure. Yeah, BBIG is moving pre-market. Yep, that's on the list. That one, there's no entry though. You know, it went vertical into the close. ANY. Maybe you can put it in a window, but yeah, that went vertical the other day, another short squeezer. WDH. So Greg, you talked about bottoming patterns. Here's another one for you. Look at that. WDH, putting that in the window.
I normally wouldn't touch it, Dan, but it seems to be working right now.
Well, yeah, I'm working, you know, once we get our setup. So if we don't get it, we don't take it.
Right. I mean, my point is that point I want to make is that certain market environments,
Sure.
there are patterns that work out, and there are others that they don't. And so you need to see some confirmation of something's in favor and junk is in favor.
Right. The confirmation is the frequency of them working.
Yeah. Right.
Look at CCJ here, just straight up rocket ship. But look right here at this 1, 2, 3 after it went 3 days sideways. That was the no-brainer entry right there. But look at this volume gapping up again. I think that thing's going to run out of steam in the near future. CTXS, beautiful gap breakout here, 103 to 112. Gap's too big for me though. And I think the news was that the hedge fund is disclosed a big position. And that just cracks me up how the market reacts to news like that. It's past tense. There's not one iota of fundamentalness has changed, not a single thing. And now you're gapping up 10% just because that's what's in people's heads. The news event fuels demand and creates a gap, which we did last Wednesday, MT Live. A gap is where no trades take place and an imbalance of supply and demand. There's a new agreed upon price, and it is what it is. Here's another junk bottoming pattern. But I don't like the gap downs as much myself. I like more fluidness, but I don't know. We'll see if that sets up. SMAR is getting whacked, 76 bucks, way the heck here to this continuation pattern. Coup had earnings back 272. I would like this better if it were gapping right to the 200 to be maybe a short-term exhaustion. But I have zero interest in buying earnings stocks that are gapping after an extended move in the same direction. It's that's just not my wheelhouse. Bumble, I think the news was they are doing a secondary offering. ADI earnings, no pattern. Malink, recent IPO, no pattern, but this maybe if it sets up in a week or two or three, then it could give us an entry. KC earnings, kind of a breakout failure. I don't have a bias on that. Cody, ooh, that's an ugly gap. Look at $8 way down here. That's a lot of bulls in here getting whacked, or 8.25 rather, right to the 200. Rev G had a beautiful close, wide range breakout, daily, weekly. You know what? Let's keep an eye on this to see if it can negate the gap. Well, that's, now that I look at it on the candlestick, that's a pretty nasty gap. I don't know, we'll come back. If something's not what I call a tier one, which means Apple is a tier one, it means he's in the batter's box. He's waiting for the market to open. He's waiting 5 minutes to make sure no fire alarms go off. He's ready to run. And that's what I'm looking for here pre-market is tier one setups. Everything else, I either delete immediately or I said, let's come back to them. We'll look at them at 10 o'clock and I go through my pruning exercise again. 78 bucks. That gap's too big for me. But that was bullish pattern here. Path and earnings or lack thereof. It's a gap under this whole base. That's to all-time lows. That's ugly. That's ugly. Let's keep an eye on that. I'll put that in another window. There's the BBIG we talked about. KDMN 920, gap's too big. The way it's going sideways, those always, my first impression is it's a buyout. PayPal we talked about, we're in it. I'm going to be looking to sell half here, two gapping up here. I'm just going to tell them that now. Give me a second. PayPal. Here we go. Oh, Greg, I see you have some questions there. Let me look. But we got to take care of our subscribers first. RB is asking about DAO 123. You're getting on board a moving train. Your entry was 2 bars ago, which was Friday. That's where your 1, 2, 3 triggered. It is a bullish 15-minute chart. I would say if it can get over this closing 15-minute pivot right here, 15.19, then it's fine for a day trade. McGraw, yeah, McGraw mentioned TAN, and I see it here on my ETF list. TAN's getting a bid here pre-market. Look at that. All right, so folks, let's this could be a long-term entry right here, Greg. Look at TAN. Monthly is buy setup going sideways. 90% retracement. This could be a very interesting sector. Greg, here's another bottoming pattern for you, your favorite. Let's set an alarm at 4:45. You know, just right near yesterday's high. I think this one might be one of these Chinese things also. I'll set it at 4:4. Give some advance notice. A 5G is another ETF of 5G. That's a power trend. Dash, it was on our weekend list, but I canceled it in the morning because of the deep retracement, but that's still worth watching. iDrive, another sector, holding well. GM looks like a short. Put that on a window. We shorted Boeing yesterday also. But yeah, this looks great. It's a bearish 15-minute chart, top and tail, downtrend. This looks good. Our Boeing 30-minute low, we'll go ahead and tighten the stop on break even. Charlie Lima alarm just went off. We're short this. Why did my market bell go off? All right, Charlie Lima. Go ahead and tighten the stop. 77.22. See PayPal, darn it, already retraced. Man, it retraced $4 already from the pre-market high. Greg, Humana alarm. Humana looks great now, folks. BGR alarm. Fizzler. Yeah, I like Fizzler. Target, maybe 105. You need a big stop though, but it's a nice gap. I just don't like when they go vertical pre-market like that. All right, all 4 indexes are kind of weak here on the 15th, so we got to be real selective on longs. All right, so I'm going to put Humana in this little window. Space jumps. There was an article in the paper that said the FAA halted their flights. CCL, there's no pattern there, thing, unless you're just 5 minutes scalping for 20 cents. But I don't recommend that with the market week. I always look at Jets also. Jets, I have zero interest in that sector right now. All right, this pen, I told you I was going to be whining if this thing goes to $100. I think we just got to do it, folks, and give it a stop. It should not come under here. Stop under 80. McGraw, get us a option trade in this too. A directional and put spread. It just looks so good. Yeah, that'd be fine. Actually 5-minute high. All right, so I got a correction out there because I said I got to be so careful on new longs with the market falling, and I just saw it getting selling off there. So hold off on pen for a better entry. Hold off. PayPal, darn it. I was all set to take some gains at the open. But yeah, market's nervous here. Our stupid Boeing is going in the wrong direction.